Hello grade 10, this is Miss Hughes and today we're going to look at fractional exponents. So exponents where you've got a fraction. I've got my rules here and I'm especially going to use these three because they've all got fractions in the exponent. Now before we actually start using the rules, if you notice there's a lot of roots involved, square roots and cube roots, and people tend to be a little bit unsure about what those are. So let's just get those clear and out of the way. If I say square root of 9, you probably know that the square root of 9 is 3, and the reason for that is because 3 squared is 9. Or if I give you square root of 25, you know that that's 5 because 5 squared is 25. Now if we're looking for a cube root, so let's say the cube root of 8, I'm looking for a number here so that I can fill in the sentence because that number cubed is going to be 8. Now you're looking for a small number that multiplied by itself gives you, 3 times gives you 8. Usually it's going to be a small number, so try 2. Does that work? 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. That works. Let's say you've got cube root of 125. Is something you're looking for a number that if I cube it, I get 125. Again, it's going to be a small number, and you can probably, the clue is probably in the 5. If I try 5, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So the cube root of 125 is 5. But you also need to know how to find roots, bigger roots. So for example, the fifth root of, let's say, 32 is something because that number to the power of 5 is 32. So you're looking for a number that multiplied by itself 5 times will give you 32. Again, the clue is it's usually a small number. So try with the smallest number you can, which I guess is 2. 1 would just be 1 no matter what power. Let's see if that works. 2 times 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. Our guess was right. So if you get stuck, just try a small number and see if that works. Alright, let's get on with the actual questions. Good. Here are my rules. So, whenever I've got to the power of a half, it's going to be a square root. Whenever I've got to the power of, let's say, a quarter or a third, it's going to be the fourth or the third root. So, 25 to the power of a half is going to be the square root of 25, which is 5. B, I'm looking for 1,000 to the power of a third, so that's the cube root of 1,000. What number multiplied by itself 3 times is 1,000, and the answer is 10. C, now here I've got several things going on, so let's take a little bit more time with this one. I've got a minus to deal with and I've got the half to deal with. So let's try it this way. Let's try and find 49 to the power of a half. Make sure you write it down so that the reader knows, what's going on. Forget the minus for a minute, let's just do 49 to the power of a half. That's by this rule, is the square root of 49. And the square root of 49 is 7. So 49 to the power of a half is 7, but I still need to deal with the minus. And we know from our rule over here that what a minus does in the power is it finds the reciprocal. So instead of writing 7, I'm going to write 1/7. Let's look at D. I'll do it up here. 27 to the power of negative a third. Again, let's deal with one thing at a time. Let's deal with the third. So cube root of 27. Cube root of 27, a number multiplied by itself that gives 3 times, giving you 27, is 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So cube root of 27 is 3, or in other words, 27 to the power of 1/3 is 3. But I still need to deal with a minus, so instead of writing 3, I will write 1/3. Okay, let's just clear the screen for a minute. Edit, clearing from page. Okay, Right, let's deal with the next two. So E, we've got 625 to the power of 1/4. Again, I'm going to use this rule here. So that tells me that it's the 4th root, because that n is 4, of 625. So I'm looking for a number that multiplied by itself 4 times is 625. It's going to be a small number. It's probably not going to be 2 or 3 or 4 because none of those would end in a 5. Let's try 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. And times 5 is 625. So the 4th root of 625 is 5. Okay. And finally F. All right, definitely a lot going on here. Let's deal with one thing at a time. Let's deal with the half first. So 4/9 to the power of 1/2. By this rule, that's the same as the square root of 4/9. By this rule, I can split that fraction up. So I'm looking for the square root of 4, which is 2, and the square root of 9, which is 3. So that's how to deal with the half. But a negative power tells me I also have to find the reciprocal of the answer. I have to flip this fraction over. So the answer is 3/2. All right, here come the nastiest examples. Whew. 32 to the power of 3/5. All right, if you remember earlier on, last time when we explained the rules, we said that the m would give you the power. So we're looking at this rule here. And the n would give you the root. So let's go slowly. The 5 is going to be the root. So I'm going to look for the 5th root of 32. And then this letter here, the 3, is going to be the power. So to the power of 3. All right, so we'll first of all have to find the 5th root of 32. And a couple of slides ago, we figured out that the 5th root of 32, so I'm looking for a number such that if I do that number to the power of 5, I get 32. A small number that multiplied by itself 5 times is 32. You've got it, it's a 2. 2 to the 5 is 32. So the 5th root of 32 is 2. So the 5th root of 32 is 2, but I've still got a 3 there. So the final answer is 2 to the 3, which is 8. Make sure you've understood that example. So the 5 ended up in the root, the 3 ended up in the power, the 5th root of 32 is 2, and 2 cubed is 8. Now, just a side point, we could have, some of you are probably asking, did we have to do it that way round? Could we have done it the other way around? So could we have done 32 cubed and then found the 5th root of that? The answer is yes, but you'd have to do 32 cubed, which is 32 times 32 times 32, and we haven't got time. So let's that's not the most efficient way. Let's erase. All right, let's try the next example. Similar kind of thing. We've got a fractional exponent. So 125 to the 2/3. The top number, the numerator, is going to be our power. The denominator is going to be our root. So let's deal with the root first. The cube root of 125. A small number that when I cube it, I get 125. You've got it, it's 5. So this whole thing, sorry, I've skipped a step, is the cube root of 125 to the power of 2. That's the root, and the 2 is the power. Cube root of 125 is 5, and I still need to square it. The answer is 25. All right, here's a nasty one. Press pause, work at the answer, and when you're ready, press play. And here we go, here's the answer. Let's deal with one thing at a time. If we deal with the 8 to the 2/3 first, 8 to the 2/3 is the cube root of 8 squared. That's the root, that's the power. The cube root of 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4. But I wanted 8 to the minus 2 over 3, so I still need to reciprocate that, and the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. And that's that.